As a matter of fact, if you look at the statements of technology experts and engineers working in this field, building a nuclear weapon is easier than this job. So, how did Turkey accomplish this? Is it real that effective and powerful? The topic we will talk about is the 5th generation fighter jet KAAN, made by the Turks. First of all, we need to understand the difference between a 5th generation fighter jet and other aircraft. In other words, what kind of technology more difficult even than building a nuclear weapon should it have? The most important feature of the 5th generation fighter jet is stealth. In other words, it must be so small on radar that it should either not appear at all enemy radar or appear as a bird, a raindrop caused by weather conditions, or a dust cloud. However, the radar of a 5th generation fighter jet must be able to detect the enemy aircraft at least 200 km in advance and bring into a hunting position. Of course, I probably don't need to mention that the aircraft must also be faster than previous generations. Considering that the United States started the F-22 in 1989 and could only complete it in 2005, this aircraft requires both a financial budget, high technology, and a very long time. And this is exactly where Turkey has truly accomplished something very difficult. In fact, some analysts even say that the country had been secretly working on 5th generation fighter jet beforehand and kept it hidden from the media. But Turkey, which has fully committed to building a 5th generation fighter jet and aims to produce all of its systems, including the engine, with domestic technology by 2030, becomes the 4th country after the USA, China, and Russia. All the countries like South Korea are reflected in the media as having 5th generation fighter jets. South Korea actually built its aircraft through technology transfer from United States and could not produce its own engine, remaining dependent on the USA for the 5th generation fighter jet engine. 1. Was KAAN produced for the F-35 or as a response to the F-22 Raptor? The Pentagon sold the F-35 fighter jet to European countries, some countries in Asia, and Middle Eastern countries that the US sees as allies. Sometimes for political reasons, sometimes for financial reasons, the aircraft was sold to same countries while not the others. But there is very important detail there. The United States has not sold the F-22 Raptor fighter jet to any country in the world. Because of its maneuverability, satellite capability, invisibility on radar, and high radar technology. The F-22 Raptor was produced more as a hunter aircraft for air-to-air combat rather than air-to-ground battles, and it was designed for absolute dominance in enemy airspace. It is currently a technology that exists only in United States, is not sold to any country, and whose technology is kept high secret. This is where the importance of the KAAN fighter jet emerges. According to Turkish officials, the aircraft building by TUSAŞ is not being produced as a rival to the F-35, but to be equivalent to the F-22 fighter jet. In that case, Turkey becomes the 2nd country in the world after the United States to possess this technology. 2. KAAN prototypes. In recent days, Turkey introduced their KAAN fighter jet prototypes P0, P1 and P2. So, what exactly do P0, P1 and P2 mean? P0 means the aircraft produced only to test whether there are any errors in takeoff and landing and to check the flying maneuvers, basically the initial level. When we come to the P1 prototype, it is an aircraft produced mainly to test whether in avionics and sensors the air are functioning properly. When we come to the latest prototype, P2, the aircraft is not for testing flight, sensors or avionics development, but is used for testing the radar system installed on the aircraft and the weapon systems. According to the news from Turkish Ministry of Defense Industry, the aircraft will reach its final form with a total of 6 prototypes. Turkish officials state that there has been no delay so far for the delivery planned in 2030, and that in each prototype aerodynamics changes and improvements in sensors, avionics and radar are made according to flight conditions. And the test result. However, in order to meet the 2030 deadline, the aircraft needs temporary engines. 3. 5th generation fighter jet engine. First, what is the difference between a 5th generation fighter jet engine and previous generation? Actually, the difference is not that the aircraft goes faster or stays at high speeds in the air for a long time. The key technology here is the absence of heat and light emitted from the engine, because when there is heat and light, no matter how fast the fighter jet goes, it becomes visible on radar and becomes prey for hypersonic missiles used to air defense systems. Therefore, it is very important that there is not flame becoming from the back of engine. At this point, the United States, the Pratt and Whitney F-135 engine and advanced version of the F-119 engine used in F-35 and F-22 fighter jets. In Turkey, this engine technology is planned to enter mass production in 2028, and approximately 40 aircraft are expected to be delivered to the country in 2030. Turkish engineers have named the 5th generation fighter jet engine of KAAN the FTF-35000. This aircraft engine is truly under development and is seriously being built. In order to meet the determined timeline, they are trying to complete prototype test using the F-110 and GA-129 engines, which are mostly used in aircraft such as the F-16 and F-15. 4. Geopolitical conjuncture. The war in the Middle East, Russia war with Ukraine, and the United States adopting a policy more like everyone should take care of themselves, rather than traditional alliance thinking, have pushed the countries around the world to seek solution in the defense field. The fact that the United States sells its 5th generation fighter jets to same countries for political reasons while not giving them to others, and that the Pentagon can decide whether the sold equipment operation according to software in American-made systems, along with increasing supply problems, has pushed Europe to look for alternatives. Spain leaving the F-35 program. Germany suspending the purchase of 100 F-35 fighter jets, and although not yet in writing, discussing the KAAN fighter jet with Turkey, and on top of the SUADİARABİA reportedly wanting first 20 and then 100 KAAN fighter jets with technology sharing in this own country have been reflected in media. Of course, this situation did not please the West very much. In the coming days, whether the KAAN fighter jet will be completed the delivery within the determined schedule, and whether the technologies on it will truly be functional, seem likely to change world geopolitics. See you in another incredible designs video. Thank you for listening.